Are we ready to get started, or? Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready. We can dive into something.
All right, go for it.
So what's the best place to go to first? Let me open some tabs real quick. Oh man.
Check,
All
check.
right.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Excellent.
I should sign out of the NRE Labs account on this machine. Having two NRE Labs accounts signed in is confusing. I'm trying to figure out. Here we go. Share screen. All right. All right. Can everybody see my screen now?
I can see it.
Yeah.
All right. So I've been spending a lot of time on documenting the release process, with particular emphasis on the curriculum side of things, but also trying to take the opportunity to do the same for the platform. The two are similar. They use the same, generally the same kind of release, like technical semantics. Like we usually have a release branch, and they use semantic versioning and all that kind of stuff. But there are differences, especially with respect to what goes into them in terms of planning. And this came up. First off, this is something we should have been doing a long time ago. But in the last release, one of the things that came up was that I really wanted to start having the community test the changes to the release, and I. I didn't get finished with all the changes that I thought needed to be made until, I don't know, like Thursday of that week, and so it left like 2 days prior to the weekend that I wanted to deploy the new curriculum, which had some time constraints because that was the the release that included the bash lesson, which was something Packet Pushers was waiting on. So we were trying to get it all working, and it felt rushed. So that combined with the fact that we should have been doing this a long time ago, what I've done since then is spend some time thinking about and documenting a full life cycle for a release. Like, what does it look like to start planning one? How long should we consider, reasonably expect to be within a release cycle? What can we expect at the end in terms of testing, and how long that time is dedicated for? All kinds of stuff like that. Now, the next version of the curriculum, we're just going to do a patch release, so version 1.0.1, as basically a way of doing a test run of the new release plan. So if you go to the forum, you can click that topic, and you can see I posted a forum post here. This is going to be the format, the general format that you're going to see for any of these kickoffs, really. Especially for the curriculum, they're going to look very similar to this, because everyone needs to have a platform target. Each one needs to have a project plan, meaning the things that you actually are going to do in this release, and then an ideal target release date. This is not strict, but it also should be somewhat firm. Like we should we invested a lot in making the workflows for the curriculum release really lightweight. So it should be rare that anything like really severely pushes target release dates, just because we can do curriculum releases so often, it just kind of doesn't make sense to hold a release up for anything, really. Well, I'm sure there will be exceptions to that, but that's generally true. If you open a new tab with this link, I would recommend taking a peek at that. That is the new curriculum release process. It's in the docs, but it's, again, this is meant to test the process, so it's by no means finished. If we feel like something didn't work out and we wanted to change something or add something, then we can do that. That's totally fine. As part of the release process, I posted this over the weekend, but this Standup serves as like the formal kickoff for this release. So the release is version 0. or 1.0.1. We're going to be targeting version platform version 0.40, which is the current release version. In fact, I expect even the next curriculum version will target that. That which will, by the way, that's going to be common now that we've split the two. I expect that the curriculum release cycle will be much quicker than that of the platform, just because of the nature of the two. If you open this link, this is also something very useful. I have done this. I've been using GitHub projects since the beginning of the project. In fact, I've been using GitHub projects since they were released, since GitHub created them. However, it hasn't been always obvious that I've been doing that, and even if that's true, even if somebody found these, they didn't always know what they were from. So, in the new process for doing releases, it's like a first-class citizen. That's part of the actual release process. So, in step 1, which is what we're doing right now, I posted a forum thread, and we're having this stand up, and we're talking about open issues or PRs that need to be included in this release. And we've decided to target version 0.4.0. And finally, we have this curriculum. We have a project plan that's created in the curriculum repos project lists. So you see, we're in the curriculum repo, and we go to the projects tab, and version 1.0.1 is right here. This is where the platform release planning is a little different. If you've noticed, that's primarily where I've been using these GitHub projects, which are kind of like Kanban boards. You can kind of think of them that way. They actually work. They're automated that way. In fact, so as you close issues, they move from left to right, which is really cool. Very useful. And if you've not used one of these, I should take a step back. Actually, if you've not used one of these before, this is a pretty typical tool to use in software development, especially those that have gone in the agile direction. But to be honest, I think it's grown well beyond that. And even people who hate agile will still use Kanban boards because they're very useful. In fact, I got my first exposure to these when I was working on the Open Daylight project. They used them in the sub project that I was working on. It was Trello, which is probably something you guys have seen before. The cool thing about GitHub projects is they've got everything that you probably wanted to see from Trello, but they're automated based on GitHub hooks and things like that. You don't have to write that automation. So if you want to see like where the release is, like how close are we to releasing version 1.0.1, you just take a peek at this. Everything needs to move generally from left to right. So these are all the things that are not done. These are all the things that are done or are being done. They're in progress. And these are the things that are done. And actually, this is merged. So I'm not sure why this is in progress. That's done. And that's it. So generally speaking, for every release, we have this plan. The objective is to get things from left to right. As soon as everything is in the right column, we are ready to do the release. Every once in a while, and this does happen, every once in a while there will be something holding up the works, whether it's a PR that got opened that the person like left and ghosted us and we don't know where they're at. We might punt that to a new release, and that's fine. So this is not meant to be crazy strict. It's just a guide. The purpose of the release planning in general is not to capture everything that could possibly need to get done in a release. It's mostly to capture the things that we should hold a release up for. Basically the things that are too important to keep going with. Like we know that we need to fix the issue in the Stackstorm lesson, which is something Toad and I have discussed. So we want to raise that here. These are things that we need to get done in this release, or rather really should get done at the very least. That doesn't mean this is all that can get done. In fact, I think I say that in the docs now like 3 times. So I'll say it again here, but that's kind of the point. So as soon as everything is from left to right, that's when we do the release. If you want to take a peek at the platform release planning, by the way, it's fairly similar. There are some key differences, especially with respect to testing. Anything that gets into the specific technical details is going to be different, obviously, because it's a different project entirely. You'll also notice that instead of at the repo level, the project planning for the platform is done at an org level. So if you go to the org and then click projects, you'll see the Antidote versions up here. And you'll notice previously that I did, there's a bunch of post-release stuff I need to update. See, I'm not following my own stuff. This is why we need the plan. The next version is 0.4.1, which I did already create. I haven't done the release kickoff for this just because I don't know why. I just didn't. I'll do that next. Yeah, the thing to go to for now is the forum that's like going to hold all the information together. So if you go there and you click the release kickoff version 1.0.1, you'll see everything you need there. The thing I need from everybody, and it looks like Cloud Toad has commented already, is between now and the next stand-up, we should take a look at the project plan, see what's in there, and then comment here. This is where we should communicate regarding the release planning for this version. If you have anything that you think needs to get done in this release, that, like I said, you want us to be aware of it, and we should hold up the release. We should not actually do the release until the thing you think should be done is done. Then let us know. This is the place to talk about that. And yeah, we'll add that to the project plan, and that way everybody kind of is up to speed on where things are at. Questions? I'm very tired, so I rambled. I apologize. I'm trying to sip my coffee in between ramblings.
So this isn't directly related to the process, but in talking with legal about getting the license for the curriculum transferred over to CC BY, which was a request from the community. Apparently, there are instructions on the CC BY page for registering things. And so we just need authors of existing curriculum to go in and make those changes, both with the license in the lesson as well as registering it with CC BY.
You lost me on that one. I'm not sure what that means. Register what?
Let me go find the email. You go to creativecommons.org/choose, pick the CC BY license, and then follow the instructions from there, from what I understand.
And I'm sorry, when do you need to do this?
There's no set time, but in order to start transferring over the curriculum to the CC BY license, that's what needs to happen. And it needs to be, so the respective authors of the curriculum need to go in and do that.
So is this a one-time thing, or do people when somebody submits a PR, they have to sign something here?
I mean, so the other thing that we need to add in the contribution docs is, yes, you also need to put in some sort of, I always want to see COD, and that's wrong. But basically, there's a thing that says, "Yea, verily, I am allowed to contribute this code, and I am contributing it under the CC BY license."
Okay. And how would we enforce that? Like, would we keep track of like everybody who signed it, and then?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we don't accept the contribution without the notice that says, "Yea, verily, I am allowed to contribute this."
Oh, okay.
But that's a separate thing from transferring it from Apache to CC BY.
Okay. Um, you said creativecommons.org/what?
creativecommons.org/choose.
Okay. Um, so Matt went over the, how we're kicking off the curriculum, and he kind of walked through how the project is being tracked and so on. Do we have anything else we want to discuss for this particular stand-up?
Not for me.
I have so today I'll post an FRR image to our S3 bucket, and I'll work on getting an example topology set up with configuration files so that people have some point of reference for for using the image themselves, just like the CVX one. That should be done today for sure.
Yeah, and I'm doing some more travel in the near future, so this week I definitely want to, as long as I can get the other, like I have some other planning related tasks I need to do, but provided those are moving along, I'm gonna try to my best to get PTR existing again this week. That would be ideal. And that way we can, always nightly see like what the latest is in terms of what what the curriculum's doing. It'll help with the curriculum release process too, because then whenever we do a curriculum release, we'll just say like, yeah, basically whatever PTR looks like, that's what we're going to release.
I'm going to go ahead and close the call then, unless someone has something else they'd like to add.
Sure. Sorry, and I missed one of the statements that might have asked if there was anything else. But I'm looking at the number 201, style checks and enforcement in CI. There's a couple linters that could provide support for this, such as a Markdown CLI. When testing the linter on my own fork of the curriculum, it's kind of like turning on Pylint or Flagate, getting a lot of errors and trying to see what's necessary and what's not.
Which 201? Do you mean in the curriculum?
Yeah, it's
Style
in
checks
the
and
release to do first card.
And what are you suggesting we use?
I'm still testing, but there's let me find the tab. I have a lot open. There's a Markdown lint or Markdown lint -CLI. Let me put it in the chat.
Okay, Markdown lint. I see. It's been about a year since it's been updated, right? But it's on GitHub.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's a Ruby package.
Correct. So there's also a Node.js version, and then someone created a fork of it for a CLI to be able to run in CI, and I'll post that too.
Igor.
Yeah. It uses the rules from
Oh, I see.
It would be great. I don't know if you've looked at the way that Circle CI is being used, or not Circle CI, CodeCov in the platform. It's coverage tool. Um, it's you can actually make certain GitHub checks not blocking. So if they fail, they don't necessarily result in they don't prevent the merge of a pull request. Um,
Right.
we should probably consider that because if you're going to get a lot of false positives, it might be useful just to have a tool that provides a report of like here's like the score of like where the spell checking and all of that stuff is. It's like a general score, and then based on the score we can decide whether or not to merge. So like if it's 85%, it's probably fine, or if it's 20%, it's probably not fine.
Okay. I'll have to figure out how to do a score in that, but that's a good option. Good idea.
I think I created the issue a long time ago. As you can see, it's changed hands in terms of which release I wanted to put it in several times. But if memory serves, what I was looking to do was basically build not just one tool, but like have like a suite of different tools that check different things, and then I was going to wrap them all underneath one umbrella.
Okay.
I remember I remember starting work on this. I just don't remember what came of it.
Sure.
So anyway,
Um,
if you want to take it on, I'm down with that. Feel free to do that. Let us know if you need help, and we don't have to do the whole thing all at once either. I mean, if you just want to do the markdown portion, then you can do that in a PR, and we'll leave the issue open for the rest.
Sure. I'm looking into spell checkers that have easy dictionaries. One I'm having trouble with getting how to create a custom dictionary.
Yeah, I think that's what I started working on. I wish I remember what I did with all of that, but I do remember having worked on that because I was building my own dictionary of like terms that were fine. As you can imagine, there are a lot of terms we use in the curriculum or really in networking and in general that are not in your average dictionary.
Yes.
I just spent a ton of time just adding simple stuff like BGP and all of that.
Yep. I did find one true spell check issue. But yeah, not this is great.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, if I find what I worked on, I'll let you know. That way you can make use of it if you want. But for now, it seems like you're clear because I don't see it. I can't find anything that of what I worked on here. If I find it, I'll let you know.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right. Do we have anything else? Nope. Okay. Then I'm gonna call time of death, and I'll actually download this one and edit it because obviously there was like a pretty significant gaps in time with silence, and then I'll post it immediately. For the notes, I'm just going to put in there that Matt went over the where it basically announced that this was the kickoff for the for the curriculum release, and I'll put in some links to where he was pointing to how the project is laid out and the various tools we use. And I'll mention that Steve was looking at that issue 201 and suggested using some kind of markdown linter. And then I'll put Lisa's note in there about ensuring that there people are authorized to contribute. and that's what that actually means, because I'm still confused by what was said. But I'll clarify that and I'll put that in there.
So two separate things. One is moving the licenses for the curriculum from Apache to CC BY. The other thing is we will need to put in instructions about putting in the note. And I don't know why my brain will not remember the term. But anyway, the note that says, yay, verily, I'm allowed to contribute this. Those are two separate things. One is the type of license. The other is the developer certificate. We need to do both.
Okay, CC BY. How do you spell that? That's
CC.
Creative Commons.
Yep. CC hyphen BY.
BY. CC BY. Oh, okay. And they're unrelated, these two things?
Correct.
Okay. Developer certificate of origin. Is that what you're referring to? Or contributor license agreement? Or DCO? Yeah, I think you're talking about a DCO, Lisa. Yeah, developer certificate of origin. Okay, I'll put in those notes, and then and that's it. I'll post them on the website. So thank you for joining, everyone, and Stephen in particular. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, bye.
Thank you.